So, Masonic Light Podcast. This is Moyer calling again. I'm currently over at Millersville Lodge. We're doing a Tall Cedar sub-party. It's more specifically for Lancaster Forest number 27. And Pete Ruggieri's in charge today. And so far, he's left once to get ties to tie the bags. And now he just came back with some more lettuce. Totally disorganized. You got people standing around here looking around. Typical. And then on top of that, Larry Morris comes in doing his weebles wobble, but they don't fall down imitation, going left, right, groaning, moaning, whatever. He leaves early for an alleged doctor appointment. But anyway, we're having a good time. But hopefully next sub-party, Pete will have all the ingredients and won't hold up the production line. So I'll be calling back soon. I got something to harass Jack Harley about. Bye.
You're listening to the Masonic Light Podcast. Starring Pete Ruggieri, Larry Maris, and Jason Lewis. This podcast is not endorsed by any Grand Lodge, and the ridiculous ramblings of the hosts are their own. So sit back and enjoy some Masonic conversation without pretension. And now, here's your hosts, Pete, Larry, and Jason.
And Jack.
Hey, that's me.
And welcome. Hey, everybody. It's Pete from Masonic Light Podcast.
Hi, everybody.
And this is a momentous. It's a big day. Momentous day. It is episode number 50.
50.
Ooh, 50.
I turn 49 tomorrow. Coincidence? What? I don't know.
Whoa, times 33 equals, it's a lot.
So we're going to have
It's a prime number.
Optimus Prime. So we're going to have it. We have a wonderful guest today, Brother Ken Hudson. Say hi, Ken.
Hello.
There's Ken. All right. And
keep it down, Ken.
Yeah, I am.
So, but Ken, what we do is we go around the room, we talk about what we've done the past couple weeks in Freemasonry, and then we go to commercial, and then we interview you. That's our exciting format that gives us 10 fans. Jason.
Or 10 million.
Yeah, Jason, what have you done Masonically the past 2 weeks?
I have a ton of stuff that I've done. Well, actually, I don't have a ton Masonically. Masonically, I did Lodge education. It's the end of the month, so there really wasn't much going on. But I did receive all of my, I don't even know what the right word is, but my Oddfellows degrees and my Oddfellows Lodge over the weekend. At what they call a rally, which you could argue is like a one-day class, but I think it was more like a Scottish Rite reunion type setting.
Yeah, rally, that nerd term kind of got it ruined by
Do you have to turn your hat around?
I have to turn my hat around. It was interesting. Do you want me to expound or not?
Oh, yeah.
It can be a whole segment.
We'll come back. We'll come back to it.
All right.
Okay.
That's pretty much what I did, not fellas.
All right. Ken, have you had anything going on Masonically in the past 2 weeks?
Just a little. I guess the biggest thing I was doing was working on some of these new applicants that I'm trying to solicit into the lodge. That's going pretty well. And then getting my guy prepared for his first degree on this coming Wednesday.
Are you a guide or just he's a friend of yours?
I'm not sure. I'm going to show up and we'll see where they put me. But it's always
sounds like our lodge.
He's got a pulse. Put him in a chair.
I'm flexible.
As Larry would say, Ken's on the petition committee.
Yeah, nice. Jack, what have you had going on the past couple of weeks?
Not too much. I did some candidate education. Went to our state rehearsal the other night just to pop in as a worshipful has-been. I don't really have a role in rehearsals anymore, other than to just remind them that they're doing it wrong, and that's not how they did it my year.
Is that like role reversal?
Yeah, it's great. It's awesome. You're completely meaningless now, and that's why there's appendant bodies, so you can go be meaningful again. But I did that, and I got... by the way, Nate Lane...
Yes.
The Broadway actor?
Nicholas Lane.
Nicholas Lane,
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
Nicholas Lane, who is worshipful master of
Castle Island
Virtual Lodge. I was going to get it. It's so slow. I'm older than you.
Civil.
And he did contact somebody in Italy who contacted me about my trip over there this upcoming week. And I sent a message to him, to the fellow in Italy, and I said, well, if it happens, then it'll happen. That'll be cool. If it doesn't happen, that's fine. At least it won't happen while I'm in Italy. So win-win, and he sent me back an email that said, oh, my brother, it will happen. So I don't know if it will or not, but by the time you hear this, it will have either happened or not. So.
Well, just don't wake up with a horse head in your bed.
If you walk,
Oh, come on now.
if you walk into a room and there's plastic on the floor, just back out.
Oh,
Hey, I'm Italian. I can make these jokes.
Fratelli.
Larry,
Yeah,
what have you had going on?
we had our lodge meeting on last Tuesday, and Goose and Gridiron Thursday. Well attended again.
How was lodge meeting?
Oh, it was spectacular. Yes, yeah, it was a stated meeting. So
Phenomenal.
chicken pot pie night. Well,
Larry,
pretty well attended.
Look at the mic, not at Pete.
I am looking at the mic. My mouth is on the mic. What do you want me to do? Put it in my mouth? Like
Oh, heavens, a
Giggity.
break.
Oh, yes.
Oh, geez. That was it. That was it. Quiet week. Oh, I will say one thing, though, about Freemasonry. Saturday morning at 7:30, I'm still in bed. I get this ping, and it's a message from Jack Aquilina, Brother Jack, worshipful Brother Jack in Victoria, Australia.
I don't think he's a master yet. Does that make him? Wasn't worshipful?
No,
master?
I didn't say master.
Larry
I said
worships him,
worshipful,
so.
worshipful brother.
Oh.
That's what they call each other. Okay.
If
Worshipful brother.
you've sat the chair.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that another time. Anyway, because I don't think I'm wrong. But anyway, I get this text from him, and he says attaches a 81-page thesis that he wrote for presentation to the
insert snoring noise.
yeah. For,
No, actually, I heard him. If you heard him,
81
read it,
pages?
He read the first section of it on which one of this?
Virtual Lodge. Once
Yeah.
he came, he was a guest.
RJ's. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I read through the whole thing for the weekend. I made that my task to do. And he wants me to comment back on it, which I will do in the next few days. But this paper was totally outstanding. Jack is a phenomenal writer. Really fantastic. So anyway, I did that over the weekend.
I look forward to your Cliff Notes.
All right.
He sent it to me too, so that'll be our book review.
There you go. We
there
can make a
go.
book review of that.
Play the music.
I read
wait.
the whole thing. I'm telling you, I was very, very impressed.
81 pages divided by 4. We got this.
Is that a prime number? 9 times 9. I guess not.
2 of the pages were footnotes, so 79. That's a prime number.
Optimus Prime.
That was me. That was it.
So I had some. Well, Tall Cedars was within the past 2 weeks.
Yes, it was.
Oh, yeah.
So I had junior, senior night for Tall Cedars. 4 out of 5 of us were there. No, Jason.
Oh yeah, that's right. I did something that night.
You had a life that night.
And Jack's lovely wife Stephanie made the chocolates for the dinner, and my lovely wife Stephanie. They're different. I know we're from Pennsylvania, but they're different wives.
We're a little farther east.
Yeah, it's not Colorado or Utah. I'll edit that one. Okay.
9 minutes and 9 seconds.
So that was fun. We had a hoagie sale out at Millersville Lodge. Larry popped in to help with that. That went okay.
And tell you, I dropped 9 of them on the floor.
I'm just glad I was out and about. I missed it.
Surprise in every bar of soap.
You know, on the non-joking side, I got a random phone call. A Masonic widow found my number in a Masonic newsletter, Tall Cedars newsletter, and sweet lady, 90 years old, and she's been really frustrated with the process of getting into the Masonic villages under fraternal care, not because of the Masonic villages causing any problems, but she's just not as on point as she used to be. And there's a 5-year look back period where you have to explain your financials.
And it's a 26-point checklist.
And yeah, so she's really getting frustrated with it. And I went over and tried to help her, and I got her in touch with somebody from the Office of the Aging who got me in touch with somebody who does this for a living. So hopefully I can get Lodge 476's almoner to cover that service. So Larry, since I'm not a member of that lodge anymore, you and Jason are, make sure you guys find the checkbook for this lovely lady.
To pay for her.
The consultant.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be $200. I mean, that's what we're there for.
Yes.
Okay, will you send me an email? I'll bring it up at the
I
next
sure
meeting.
will.
Okay, thank you.
And the last thing, I got some apparel.
A pair of what?
So I'll show you. Hold on.
Oh God.
Oh, wait, no. Like
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
That is
yeah.
pretty.
That's nice.
So
That's a great pair.
on our, you only saw one. So on our Masonic, I'll post a store on Facebook, but we have a store where you can buy a Masonic light gear. And you can also buy stuff for Ubar Grotto and Lancaster Forest.
MOVPER.
MOUSE. If Sean's listening, and he does listen to the show, there you go, Sean.
More on Sean later.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back. What you got?
When you said that you had Tall Cedars, I remember why I wasn't there. I went to Robert Burns Lodge, not Robert Burns Night. Robert Burns Lodge in Harrisburg's 100 and something banquet, which is a kind of bastardized table lodge / banquet, but it was a lot of
festive board.
I don't even know if it was a festive board, but it was. Did
they fest?
There was tons of.
Were you bored?
There was easily 30, 40 dignitaries, and there was probably 200 and some people there. It was pretty intense.
Do they have to introduce everyone?
Quickly, they did it quickly. They introduced everybody from the York Rite. Please receive them. Introduced everybody from presiding officers of the Valley of Harrisburg. Please receive them. But there was no.
Okay,
it was quick.
It's one of those things. Like I've been in the Masons 21 years. I'm in all these bodies. When I go out somewhere, everybody's a past something. Everybody's got a resume. So it's at a certain point where I'm a master Mason. I'll wave and I'm done.
But it seems to be, they have 8 seats per table, and what it appears happens is that the past masters of Burns or the bigwigs of Burns will buy a whole table, and then they invite their group. So last minute, I was invited to the director of works table. He probably had a cancellation, but it was a really good time.
Robert Burns Lodge.
Robert Burns Lodge, 464.
Was Tom LeBaugh there?
Tom LeBaugh.
He's usually there.
Yeah, he was not for some reason. He may have had another event.
He probably got word of the speech he gave in Allentown.
Well, the guest speaker was the Right Worshipful Junior Grand Warden, Larry A. Durr, and he actually did a really nice job. It was a wonderful event. It was really good. And it was free. I didn't have to pay.
It's a random compliment, but everything I've seen Larry do since he's been in this position, I think he's done a good job.
Larry was groomed for the position for a very long time, and he's doing a great job.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and talk to Brother Ken Hudson of Lodge 43. And we're back. So we have our guest here today, Brother Ken Hudson from Lodge 43.
Singular.
Yes.
Right.
So one of the things I've been trying to bring to the show for a while, and I think Ken is the perfect opportunity.
Color. Go ahead.
No. Oh, no. You had to go there.
I'm color. Pete's play-by-play. Yeah.
No, like, Ken, how long have you been a Mason?
Since October of 16.
Okay, so you're a relatively new brother.
Very new, yeah.
So, but it's really easy to get people to come in here and they can just tell us all about their Masonic accolades. But what I think is really interesting about you is you're just an interesting person. You've had a very interesting life, and you are a Mason. And I just think, we're going to try and do this once in a while where just, find some people that are interesting who also happen to be Masons and just kind of do a legit interview.
Yep.
So we're going to let our professional interviewer, Larry, do this until he breaks. Then the rest of us will jump in.
He did such a fine job opening, and I just want him to continue. I mean, geez, come on. Thanks, Pete. I appreciate it. That was a very good opening for a change. Anyway, Ken has been with us, and one of the things that, and Ken and I have talked frequently, and at my age, I forget frequently, too, what we talked about, but we talked about he has an interesting and unique background. And one of the things I want to get him, and I think I'll just highlight quickly, and then he can go into it.
This is where Larry reads off your resume instead of asking you.
I don't have it. One, I'm going to points of interest where growing up, you grew up in a very religious family.
Very religious.
And their take on Freemasonry was, whoa, devil. Yeah. Okay, kind of. And I'm maybe elaborating on that. I want you to talk about that. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, first of all, I was a drug baby. I was drugged to church every day of the week.
I was wondering where that was going.
Nice. Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
You had me hanging.
Wow.
Yeah, you like to pause, right? All right. Yeah, Monday all the way through, every day there was some reason we were going to church, and unfortunately, we only lived a block away. We lived on 57th and Thompson, and the church was right at 58th Street, so there was no reason why we couldn't go, rain, snow, sleet, or hail, or cow crap, or nothing. Doesn't matter. We were there. I had uncles. As a matter of fact, I found out my great-grandfather was a Mason in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, or Stowe was the name of the town that he was a Mason. And matter of fact, I have my old apron that my mother gave me. I had to do some research on that. I meant to bring it and show it to you. And I'd heard so many comments and rumors as I was growing up about the Masons. Okay, oh my God, they sacrifice virgins. Yeah,
If you can find any.
Yeah. Well, back then you could.
Well, luckily there's a lot of 40-year-old versions in the lodge.
Yeah, they all happen to be dudes with ponytails in your lodge.
They said that, I didn't.
Yeah.
And being young back then, 8, 10 years old, I didn't know what a virgin was until I was much older. Then I realized I should have joined the Masons a long time ago, 'cause I would have enjoyed sacrificing a few. But anyhow, they
You better edit that.
I hope we can use this segment here.
He's just going to take your job, Larry. So
No, they sacrifice dogs and animals, and I was always a pet lover, and that turned me against them. So I just grew up with this whole negative thing, and anybody said they were Masons or had anything to do with Masonic anything, I was totally against it.
Well, one of the things I always find interesting, too, is that kind of continued into your young adult life. You were an associate pastor of the Temple, was it Temple Ray here in Lancaster?
Yeah, Ray's Temple.
Which is a very big church. So you were associate pastor there for how many years?
Oh, 4 years.
4 years.
4 years, yeah.
So he's an ordained minister on top of all.
Yeah.
He does marriage ceremonies, by the way.
And funerals, too.
Yeah, funerals, too.
Yeah, he do both ends.
So when did you start getting a different opinion of Freemasonry?
Through my first and second signer, okay, Clyde, and also Steve Henry. I knew them. They talk in much detail, but not enough to give me a lot of answers. And I kind of trusted their background and who they were as persons. Then I did a little more research online. Before, I had never had a desire to even to do any research on it. And, with the internet, you can find a lot of stuff. No, let me take that back. A lot of junk, a lot of garbage. and they kind of directed me in the path that I needed to research online. And come to the realization that, this seems like a good thing. But it didn't happen to connect with me at the one-day class, which, by the way, I'm against. I went in there with no questions. It came out with 1,000 questions. And if it wasn't for members of the lodge like Ed McGraw and Jason Lewis to fill me in. Yeah, another guy. Fill me in on a lot of the things. And Jason will tell you, I called him just about every day. I got a question for you.
Called? Jesus. No.
So I hope you're not busy. I got a question for you. What is this? What do you do here? What's it about? How do you pose a dress and all that stuff?
I may have jumped a little bit in the progression of things because I took you to being the associate pastor of the church. But there was something else that happened in your life that kind of changed your direction too. You became a fireman, a professional firefighter.
Oh, that started
way back.
When I was 8 years old.
When you're 8 years old, yes, I know.
I used to go out and pull the fire alarm at 57th and Thompson and sit there and watch the fire trucks come, until I got busted, and the lieutenant there says, "Hey, little boy, did you see you pulled this?" I said, "Yeah, I pulled it." And he said, "Why you do that?" I said, "Because I went to see the fire trucks." And they invited me up to the station, and I got hooked.
You got hooked?
Yeah, they were really, really great to me up there. They let me wash floors and do dishes and wipe down the fire engine, and I was just so thankful to do that, man. I was so grateful. So it was always in my blood. Now, of course, that's not my mother didn't have that career and vision for me, so she made me do other things.
But you actually joined the Philadelphia Fire Department.
Oh, yeah. It was the best time of my life.
What year did you join the fire department?
66.
And then I think you had told me once, is it true you were the first black lieutenant in the Philadelphia Fire Department?
That made it within 6 months, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Usually it came a couple of years. And back then, you got to remember, we're talking about the 60s, okay? You're lucky you're allowed in the station. They don't ride. Well, I did ride on the back of the fire, on the back step, but, but no, that was a good thing, and I enjoyed that. I really did. It was probably one of the best things I did in my life.
And you retired from?
No, I didn't retire. No, back in '75, I think it was. I got burned at Gulf Oil, and on my arm, and it wasn't really that severe, but it was enough for me to kind of think twice about doing something. And then there's some other opportunities came along too that I wanted to try. I was young and just wanted to experiment a lot of things.
And you're still in the fire service. You're a deputy chief of the hazmat?
Assistant chief of Lancaster County hazmat team, yeah. And I was state fire academy instructor for a number of years, yeah. And member of West Hempfield Township Fire and Rescue. Yeah.
Very neat.
I grew up in Erie, PA, which most of our listeners know. And for listeners just joining us, Ken and I are from the same lodge. So Ken grew up in Philadelphia, and I grew up in Erie, and my Erie family, my dad and my stepmom came down and came to breakfast, Goose and Gridiron once with us, and state fire instructor. My dad's has been heavily involved in volunteer firefighting ever since he was a young man, and of course they knew each other.
Yeah, one of my students. Yeah, and that happens because I had over 6,000 students, wow. in the career. Unfortunately, the two firefighters that passed away in York
City. Oh wow!
They were two of my students too. So I did have to attend that funeral, and unfortunately that happens too often. Yeah.
Going back to Freemasonry. Sorry, I interrupted.
Before we all start crying or something.
Keep going, Larry.
Okay. Yeah, going back to Freemasonry. Mm-hmm. Okay. You made a conscious decision after talking to Jason and get it. A lot changed since you have become a Mason. Tell us about that.
Yeah, a lot has changed. Jack has to take some credit for this, too. He probably didn't even realize it.
What?
Yeah, I know it. I know. More than just passing the bottle.
We're not regulated by the FCC.
That's a Masonic secret. Be quiet.
Yeah. Royal Arch degree, kind of touch base for me. and brought a lot of the things that I had been taught and raised and received in some seminary classes and things of that nature, and followed along with this. It helped me dispel a lot of the rumors and lies that I had been told through my childhood and teenage and adult life. And that made a difference. And then when I saw how this really could enhance my life, I got a little depressed by the fact that I wasted all these years not being a Mason.
No, you were building up to it.
Now I'm way over the hill. I can't build anymore.
I was hoping you were going to talk about that because if you hadn't said it, I was going to. When you were getting your Royal Arts degrees, it was really rewarding to be a part of your degrees, because it's so rare that the guys that are receiving the degrees know the scripture that's being quoted better than the guys who are conferring the word. I mean, I'm going along with some sections, and Kenny's going, yep, got that, yep, I do.
Yeah, well, that made a connection for me, okay, because if you're born and raised in the church and you've studied the Bible from Genesis to Revelations and all in between, then when you get into an organization that you've been told is completely opposite, and you find out they're not, two things: you can either jump into it with both feet and give it 1,000%, which I did, or you can get mad, which I did. All right, so I'm writing a paper in the process of doing that about that experience. Okay,
yeah.
And Brother Larry is helping.
I got the
me
first
with
two
that.
sections of it, but
it was
might
rough.
take another month or two to get the third section.
It will. I have to wake up in the middle of the night when stuff.
Larry's
comes
been writing his second book for 10 years.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, you might want to find another author.
Now, Ken, for our listeners, I mean, you kind of hinted at it by when you joined the fire service, but I mean, I know that you've been a Mason for about a year and a half because you were in the October 29th of 2016 class.
Right.
I happened to be the secretary that filed all the paperwork. But but how old were you when you did join?
Well, wait a minute. You do the math. I'll be 69 in September.
67.
Yeah, there you go.
Sad, Larry, minus 1.5. Awesome.
I was told there was not going to be any math.
I just wanted to point out that Larry is still the oldest person here.
Oh, geez. Okay, go ahead.
It also brings to point, though, we're not only out there recruiting millennials. You know,
right.
This is a great Mason, and he's a great guy. And
I think we need to be careful when we say the word young. We need, young.
Absolutely.
We need to attract younger people is one statement, but when we talk about young Masons, that's not necessarily age. That could be
we need to attract
membership
good men,
right?
And I think the Scottish Rites research shows that if somebody like Ken joins in the 60s. And the kids are all out of the house, and he's got free time.
There you go.
You
have an opportunity to get an active brother.
Get him a tux.
True.
Well, that studies show that the baby boomers and the millennials have a nice overlapping of morals. But I'll tell you, I mean, there are older people joining our lodge that are just as interested in the esoterics and the deeper meanings than we allude.
Yeah.
True.
I think there are younger people joining our lodge for those reasons as well.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I think more than we think they are.
But that's a challenge for the lodge itself because they have to meet all kinds of people coming through.
Yes.
One of the things that I notice, and one of the little struggles I'm dealing with, is finding people that don't have a how can I say this? A background that they've had little run-ins with the law. Okay, yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
A DUI here or some other kind of charge. And they may be good people, maybe good men.
You really should flesh that out a little bit because I don't know. Maybe your lodge is a little bit more strict than other lodges, but my lodges I've been in, some youthful indiscretions. When somebody's, we don't hold some of those things against them.
That's pretty much been my case.
When I was young and foolish, I was young and foolish.
Yeah. So I mean,
Ditto.
Well, Ken, you said something, and if we need to edit this out, we can edit it. But you said something that really struck a chord with me a month or two back. We had had adult beverage at our normal after lodge meeting place.
I wasn't responsible for that.
And you were drinking your soda.
Okay.
But we were talking about. We talk about how we need, the Masonry is diverse, and we want to attract diverse people. However,
you can't grow up poor and not have a run-in with the law, okay? Because you got to eat, you got to have a roof over your head, you have to have clothes on your back, you want to provide something for your children or your family, and sometimes you might have to do something that you shouldn't do. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a bad person, and you may regret it, and you may have even paid the price for that, and then some people are lucky that they didn't get caught and say, well, I'll never do anything like that again. I got over this hump. But it's going to be hard to sift through the type of people we're running into today, young or old or whatever their nationalities are, and not find that some kind of trouble in their background. If the Masons are going to use the philosophy of open the door, whosoever let them come, then you got to be ready to get whatever you get through that door. Okay, either put a screen on the door before they get through there, or shut the door tight. Idea.
We had a similar situation, and without getting into too much detail, there was a young man that the returns came back that he had some nonsense on his record, and by that time we'd already voted on him and approved him. Because we didn't know about that at the time, and we were told to go back and take another look, and we went back and took another look, and he explained it. He said, I was stupid. I get it. I'm not there anymore. I'm not at that place in my life anymore, and I want to surround myself with people that will keep me out of that place. And I can't fault the guy for that. Absolutely.
It makes me think about what Ken was saying earlier when he was little kid and being mischievous and pulling the fire alarm just to see the fire trucks.
He'd be a terrorist today. Yeah.
But that lieutenant, that lieutenant, by being a cool guy, and nice to the young boy, instead of hitting him or getting him in trouble,
right?
True. Probably turn your life in a positive direction.
And that's very true, because if I look back at my family members that are on or around my age, I'm the only one that hasn't done any prison time.
Wow.
I never got locked up, and it's because of my involvement in the fire service and in emergency services. I have to, and then I'm older now, and at the 1,000-foot level, I can look down now at my life and see that made a big change.
Sorry, did I interrupt you?
No. That's
well, you
your
did,
show.
That's okay.
So I've been thinking about this a lot ever since you made that comment a few months ago, and I think about whoa, I heard that. We're never going to necessarily change the rules. I think and in Pennsylvania in particular, they're scrutinizing. I don't want to say scrutinizing, but they're looking at every single applicant, and those things in the digital age pop up pretty quickly. I don't think that we're going to ever undo those rules of if you have a recent felony for a violent crime.
Okay,
right.
Yeah,
I don't think we're talking felonies.
No, we're not. But my point being is that I don't think that we're ever going to loosen the reins on some of the criminal backgrounds, right?
And I don't think we should, really.
No, I don't think so either.
No.
But when I think about diversity and what are we doing to attract diversity, right? Now, we live in Lancaster, obviously, right? Lancaster City, 40% of the population of the city is Spanish speaking.
I think it's actually 53%.
And like 33% in the county, right? But how many Masons are traveling below King Street, tangling with these communities, right, like the Spanish community, and finding people that would make good Masons, right? And then these men in the Spanish community, the Latino community, or the minority community. We reach out, we touch the guys that could be good Masons, and then they become good examples in their community, right? What would have happened if the fire chief or the fireman that was talking to Ken when he was 8 years old was a Mason, right? So if we just had a hand...
He might have been.
Right, exactly. And he wouldn't be so mad that you joined at 67.
Yeah, that's right.
But shame on us. We talk about being a diverse crowd, but we don't go mingle in the areas where it matters.
I'll go even one more. When my youngest kid was in Demolay, the chapter was trying to restart in Lancaster. And it wasn't working. And as part of the discussion, it came out, well, why don't we reach out to the kids? I mean, this started back in 1910 as a way to reach out to kids who had lost their parents, who had lost a father. Actually, it wasn't 1910, it was later, but lost a father in World War I. And give them a parent, a father figure to go to.
Frank Land was watching all the disinfected youth, being hooligans on the street.
Absolutely. So it came out, well, why don't we reach out to the disaffected youth of Lancaster? And you'd have thought that I had set off a stink bomb in church. I mean, it was just like not going to happen. We were not going to go out into the community and reach out to the kids that need it the most.
Well, who are you going to send?
Right.
Well, that's the thing. There are certain things I don't think that I'm prepared to do as a Mason, okay, in terms of outreach. But going into the deeper parts of Lancaster, I can do that because I've done that before, and I'll fit in where you'll stand out, okay? And I don't care if this is 2018.
Here I am, boy. Is it all
Remember when you drive with him, when you
yeah, isn't it?
thing is, he carries a badge. Number one. Number two, he drives a vehicle that has these flashing blue and red lights on it, and he has one of those things that goes whoop 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 whoop.
It's called a siren.
So going down in the deep part of the neighborhood there, I would be leary of that one.
Yeah, I get shot at maybe, but everybody knows me down there.
Well, they know you. They know you're not a cop. Yeah.
But that being a Lancaster resident for 30 years now, it weirds me out that there are so few Hispanic Masons.
Yeah. Yeah, my
percentage wise, between Mount Horeb, the Prince Hall Lodge, and then the brothers of color that are in the mainstream lodge, I guess for lack of a better word, I think percentage wise we have a good percentage of black men that are Masons, but the Hispanic community is completely.
My closest friend just joined. We got to get him on the show one time. But my dearest friend Pascal joined, and he's Haitian American, and he joined 43, and he came to his first stated meeting, and he said, "Wow, I'm glad that I increased our diversity by 100%." I mean, he sat with Ken, and that was. But I know when we say Masonry is diverse, and you meet all sorts of people, and there's all sorts of different walks of life, but it's not diverse. I think that from an outsider would think we mean.
Well, one of the brothers from our lodge is actually involved in trying to establish a Spanish-speaking lodge in the Grand Lodge of Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
and it's not looking good. It took too long. The members that were really excited about it at first fell out. And so there's a core group that are still trying to push it. But there's no reason that can't happen in Lancaster or York or any other town anywhere. But it doesn't have to be a Spanish-speaking lodge. It
could be an English-speaking lodge.
It can be anybody's
mainly
lodge,
of
right?
Hispanic men.
Just know that when you come in the door, none of that matters anymore.
Yeah,
and that's very difficult for a person of color or a person of a different language or a different ethnicity. It's very hard to believe that. Yeah. Because your whole life you were
going back to the religion thing. I'd say the vast majority of Hispanics have a Roman Catholic background, and some of them may be different religions, but and the Catholic Church just traditionally was maybe not openly anti-Mason,
strongly anti-Mason.
Very well,
very strong,
like papal bulls.
But that doesn't. But regardless, that doesn't change the fact that we could be going down into those communities and being helpful and volunteering.
We
and
absolutely
saying,
could.
And saying, "Oh, by the way, we're Masons." And, maybe we attract a couple. And Ken, something that I didn't know when I had first met you, and I'm going to throw this out there for all of Pennsylvania and if you're a member of clergy, so like Matt Randolph, who was just on the Scottish Rite of the Northern Masonic jurisdiction, if you join Blue Lodge, and you're, ordained, if you're a legit man of the cloth, they'll actually refund your initiation fees for you. And you don't have to. You can or cannot join the Scottish Rite after the fact, but they will actually pay you back for your initiation fees if you're a man of the cloth. So
did not know that.
Didn't know that.
I made sure
you got to pay your yearly dues
after Matt was on the show. I printed out the paperwork for the Knights Templar Holy Land thing, and gave it to my wife's pastor. So my wife's pastor is he's a pastor of a Mennonite church, and they're a very liberal church, but he still doesn't know much about the Masons. And it's like, here's an opportunity. If we could send a man like that on this cool trip and have a positive experience in regards to the Freemasons, he could come back and tell, like, I got back from the Holy Lands and this was paid for. Aren't they devil worshippers? Well, no.
Not in my experience.
Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break.
I wanted Jack to recite a piece or talk. I don't know if you want to say it verbatim, but there's a piece of the closing charge that I think would be really appropriate to egg this segment before break, where and I don't know it by heart, but we talk about, if we act a certain way, then the world will observe something or other.
If we faithfully observe these duties, the world will observe. If we faithfully something these duties, the world will observe how Freemasons love one another in obedience to the will of God. Is that what you're looking for? I mean,
yeah, I think that's a wonderful line, and we sometimes fail in that.
We can call Larry Hudson and get him to recite it.
Well, just to take out of the lodge the principles of Freemasonry that you've been taught within it. I mean, we just don't. I don't think we do enough taking it out into the streets. But
hey, Moyer, call in this week and correct us.
There you go.
All right, we'll go to break. Okay, and we're back with episode 50. And Ken, so this is a very important thing for Freemasons. You happen to be an expert at something, like many Freemasons.
6 kids.
Well, no. When we met you, you had a little bit of a weight problem.
Oh, yeah.
And sitting around the table here, there's nobody in a weight. I think Jack might be a 38 under.
Exactly.
Yeah, like a 44 over, but it's a 38 under. So you had the full big deal gastric bypass surgery.
Yes, indeed.
So tell our listeners about that, because I just think it's fascinating.
Oh,
and I think we have an opportunity. There's a lot of guys that would never ask, and we're a weird place to get medical advice. But
this is not to be considered medical advice. See your physician for your own personal medical treatment.
But we just have a lot of brothers like myself
Facebook.
that are heavy.
Well, first of all, it's my wife's fault. When I met her 30-something years ago, she is an excellent cook. And having 6 kids around the house, she cooked big meals. She'll tell you that she told me not to eat 4 and 5 helpings of everything. Well, I told her to stop cooking. That didn't work. So I gained a lot of weight. And I was up to 255 pounds. And I had diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol, sleep apnea, and probably some other stuff doctors didn't know about. Okay, and stage 3 kidney disease. Okay, and that a lot of it happened because of the medicines you're taking for all the other stuff. So one of the brothers, Steve Henry, had bypass surgery, and him and I are so close, that we talked about that, and then I talked to Larry Hudson, who had it, and about 16 other people, and you're surprised how many people have had the gastric bypass. And I I convinced myself to do that. It's a long process. You just don't walk in and say, hey, do this. You got to go through psychological and physical evaluation, got to be passed off on several different doctors. And once you go through that process, which takes every bit of 4 to 6 months, I had it. The operation is very, very simple. They just disconnect your stomach. That's all. They'll reconnect it. Do that. And then the hardest adjustment is getting used to not being able to eat a whole lot. Okay? I can eat about a cereal bowl full of food, and that's about it. I'm stuffed for the whole day. But my diabetes went away. The next day, it went away. The high blood pressure went away. The cholesterol problem went away. Okay? That was worth the operation.
How many pounds have you lost so far?
Oh God, almost 65.
Yeah.
And I just had it at the end of.
Ken, how tall are you? 5'9", 5'8"?
5'6" and a half.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't
So I
forget
mean,
that
that was
half.
255 pounds
yeah.
on your frame.
Oh my gosh.
Was more significant than
Yeah.
my girth.
My 265 pounds.
He's still taller than Jack Aquilina.
But the problem was it did damage to my knees. Okay, I had to have both knees replaced prior to
from
the
just
surgery.
being heavy.
Just being so heavy and being active and running around, jumping in, and being in the fire service and all, So really, I wish I would have been able to get the surgery, say maybe 10, 15 years ago. Because your eating habits change, believe me.
See, we could do that. We could have a bonus, like you do surgery and you get your Master Mason's degree in one day.
All that, yeah.
Well, one of the things
That's a new one-day class.
One of the things Ken didn't say.
Bariatric degree.
One of the things Ken didn't say was his wife is a phenomenal cook and he gained a lot of weight. She didn't.
Yeah,
she didn't gain any weight whatsoever. Let me tell you. Ken is married
I
to
would
a
never believe that your wife had 6 kids.
Yeah.
She's a
Yeah,
thin,
well,
beautiful
a
lady.
very beautiful woman.
When I met her, she
Absolutely.
weighed 106 pounds, okay? And I'm not going to tell you how much she weighs now, but it ain't 106, okay? She
she's
works hard.
thin.
She works hard at that.
She weighs 107 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm not putting her.
She hears this show, she's going to whoop you.
You
like
know she
would
will,
me.
because she listens to it too,
And you're going to be yelling, hurt me, hurt me.
Yeah. I might have to have a place to live. But no, it was the best decision I made, really. It really was. I'm struggling with it because I see things I want to eat and I can't eat it. Okay, your taste buds change. Yeah, a lot.
This is a real question. How hard is it to do masonry and not eat everything that you want to eat? I mean, seriously, because, I've put on, I was a big guy when I joined, and I'm a bigger guy now.
Close the lodge, go eat pie.
I mean, it's seriously, like we eat a ton and we eat
You
shitty.
do, right.
You want to tell them about last Tuesday night?
My kid,
Our lodge had chicken pot pie night.
Mm-hmm.
Jason and Zoe show up for chicken pot pie.
Zoe's 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she ate how many plates?
Well, she had a kid-sized plate, and then she had 5 more scoops.
And she's a little thing.
Yeah. She can burn it off.
little scoops, but I gave her a little, a small ladle at a time. But man, more noodles, Daddy.
Yeah, but when you're young like that, you can burn it off. When you get older, then that's what'll stick to you. But no, I waste a lot of money. Let's put it that way, because I do support the lodge and their meals and things. I still buy the tickets and still go to sub sales and things like that. And I support it because I know what the lodge does with the money. Okay, and I can give it to you directly, or I can take a little sandwich
Make you
home
work
or
for
something
it.
like that. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, make you suffer through the meal.
Got to give it to our current Worship Master in 43 and our previous Master in 43. I mean, both those guys are, long distance runners. Mm-hmm. TJ just did a 50 mile trail run down in Clifton, Virginia, down by our boys in Masonic Roundtable. But they're doing the relay for life. They're trying. And he just did the Philly 15K followed by a 5K, and but they're trying to loop in some of that healthier living into the lodge. And now in 3 or 4 years when I go in, it'll all be undone. But
I did walk up the steps this morning to get a bowl of cereal. If that counts.
Well,
for anything.
Jason, I saw a thing on the news the other day. There's a thing in churches, and I think it started out with men. It might be more than just men now, but the guys getting together on Saturday mornings outside of the church, and they're doing almost like military type calisthenics and exercises and running around. Mm-hmm. If you could get Ken and those guys to do a Masonic fitness thing on a Saturday.
We talk about small groups, and that's what's keeping the big churches busy, are those small groups. They get, you get a 6,000 member church, but you get together with 25 guys.
I've been toying around with this idea. Like, we have Goose and Gridiron, but I've been toying around with this idea of a coffee get together, like earlier. Mm-hmm. Not on Thursdays, but a different day, whether it be an early Saturday morning or maybe a weekday that guys can get coffee together. But there's nothing stopping us from getting together.
How about the trowel and the treadmill?
There you go.
What?
But listen, our lodge is about what, 4 blocks away from Central Market, right? So for those of you that aren't from Lancaster, we have the oldest running market, and there's a couple coffee shops in there, and we could park at Lodge, walk down to Central Market, get a cup of coffee.
That's too far. We
and
can
walk
never
back.
Walk that far.
That's something
it's too far. You never make it. No.
The fellowship committee.
There's bears
walking.
Hey, I had you walking for Roots and Blues. You were all over Lancaster.
I walked probably a good half a mile. So I walked more than that. That was brutal.
So Jason, that'll bring us back to a whole. We could go on for hours. I started writing something I was going to hopefully submit something to the Scottish Rite. But
you didn't get accepted yet?
No, they still haven't got me in the academy, so they're not getting my creativity. But when I was in my fraternity in college, and I got through high school and I got through college pre-internet and pre-cell phone. So on Sundays or Thursday nights or whatever night, we would get together because we wanted to catch up with each other, and we download all the information of all the cool stories that we missed. And even in up until I was 28, we would get together at the bar, my buddies and I, and we talk about what we did all the past week. Well, let's look at the Masons. They used to meet once a month. These guys would get together, and they'd all catch up on everything that happened. Well, now I saw Jack took a picture of his cereal this morning. I know what he had for breakfast. I know your daughter's got a cold. I know everybody's business because of Facebook. Mm-hmm. We don't have that need to get together like we used to.
Social media took care of that.
Yeah, so
I don't have to leave the house to know anything.
This goes to what we talked about last episode, right? We're on the cusp of becoming whatever it is that we're going to be next.
Right.
But that thing that we once we're not that anymore. Yeah.
No, but I think it manifests itself in different ways. I think the example of a Goose and Gridiron is a socialization, networking of individuals who all have Facebook. That's how we communicate to them. And we get together, and the socialization, being with the other guys, is a lot of fun. And
right, without a format.
Without a format.
Exactly. And that's where Grotto
should anybody make an announcement at that meeting, it'd still kill you. Mm-hmm.
Well, listen, if there's any bros out there that want to get coffee early on a Saturday morning,
yes,
park at Lodge. We'll walk down to Central Market, and then we'll walk back.
I'll meet you at Market.
Well, no, that's defeating the purpose. And we're going to call it Coffee and Cankles. Hopefully we can make the cankles go away.
Yeah. Invite Bill Clinton.
Yeah. You're going to walk there and you're going to get a triple soy sugar cocoa with
no sugar.
You're going to get a 600 calorie drink.
Mm-hmm. Park at the train station and walk to the market.
I have a better idea. Why don't we meet at Mean Cup and then get Byler's Donuts?
You're missing the donut. He's missing the whole. Yeah, never mind.
But there is Mean Cup and Market. That's the idea.
That's true.
In any event.
So let's take a break. We'll go to hear from Seth Anthony
and the news,
and come back with Jack's news.
You're about to enter
Corpora Obscurum,
the realm of weird fraternal organization.
Leave your Freemasonry behind.
Prepare to meet druids, caliphs, and wild creatures.
Knock thrice
and enter at your own risk.
E. Clampus Vitus. Et tu Brute, Masonic Light Podcast listeners. Today we travel west and investigate the history of E. Clampus Vitus. Known today as the Ancient and Honorable Order of E. Clampus Vitus, shortened to ECV, the group is dedicated to the study and preservation of the heritage of the American West, especially the history of the mother lode in the gold mining regions. But it is based on a much older organization that peaked around 1870 in the western United States. The organization's name is in Dog Latin and has no known meaning. Even the spelling is disputed. sometimes appearing as Clampus, Clampsis, or Clampers. The fraternity is not sure if it's a historical drinking society or a drinking historical society. Certainly, it's right up Pete's alley either way. The early history of the organization is unclear. Historian Lois Rather suggests that the order originally came from the southern states before being carried to California during the gold rush. The Sons of Malta, a fraternal society given to pranks and parody initiation rites, has been cited as an influence, even though the Sons of Malta do not seem to have existed until 1854. Though the ECV may have inspired the Sons of Malta, as there were many disappointed by the California gold rush who returned east. Others maintain that the group is a native Californian institution, founded by one Joseph H. Zumwalt in Mokelumne Hill, California. Both legend and scholars agree that the group was founded in 1849. Zumwalt opened an ECV lodge in Mokelumne Hill in 1851, when Mokelumne Hill Lodge number 1001 was established. ECV flourished, in part as the result of the miners' reaction to the established organizations, such as the Masons and the Oddfellows. Those groups had come to the mining country prior to ECV, and when ECV appeared, the older, more established groups looked down upon the more rowdy nature of Eclampus Vitus. ECV, on the other hand, made fun of the stuffed shirts of the Masons. They made great fun of the sashes and ceremonial attire of the upscale fraternities, and began dressing in red shirts and pinning on badges made of cut-out tin can lids. This practice, called wearing the tin, continues to this day, although the badges are frequently professionally made. Members commonly dress in a red shirt, black hat, and Levi's jeans. ECV titles reflected the tongue-in-cheek nature of the organization. There are chapters in several American states, but mostly concentrated in the American West, as one would expect. Members call themselves Clampers. Clamper meetings were held in the Hall of Comparative Ovations, which was generally the back room of a saloon. Some chapters even built their own halls of comparative ovations. One still stand in Murphy's. The Clamper flag was a hoop skirt with the words, "This is the flag we fight under." Meetings were held at any time before or after a full moon. New members were called poor blind candidates. They were required to present a poke of gold dust, although the value of the poke was left to the discretion of the brotherhood, and was frequently waived entirely if the prospective member could not afford it. A second-era version of the organization was formed in 1930 by attorney Carl Irving Wheat. The new incarnation of ECV is more serious than its predecessor, as a historical society as well as mirth-making club. ECV historical plaques are found on many buildings around California. In 1991, there were 50,000 clampers in 62 lodges. Want to learn more about America's fraternal history? Visit the J.H. Rathbone Museum in person in Lafayette, Indiana, or online at jhrathbonemuseum.org. And be sure to like us on Facebook.
Good news, everyone!
Masonic Light News. News not fit to print.
In Masonic news today, it has been irrefutably determined that on this day, Larry Maris is not the unhealthiest member of Ubar Grotto. The prophet monarch of Ubar Grotto is, in fact, less healthy than Larry, and as a result, will have his breast torn open and replumbed with a vein from a member which has been otherwise useless for several years. The surgeons remarked that it is unusual for a heart so tiny to require so much work, but our prophet monarch would not take it lying down. He insisted that while they were in there, the surgeons should liposuction his abs and give him that enlargement procedure that has so long evaded him. Be well, prophet, and follow freaking instructions. And that's the Masonic news. So mote it was.
Oh,
Amen.
poor Spooner. Oh, wow. Get well, Sean.
We're with you, brother. Be well.
Get well soon.
All righty.
We need another meeting like last month.
I'm running this one.
Hey, Masonic Life Podcast. This is Moyer again. A little addendum to my earlier call-in. We ran short of onions on 4 subs. That's another tip against Pete. And for you guys that know Jack Harley, don't go out with him for drinks and food, because any change that's left over at the table he puts in his wallet, promises to keep it until the next time you get together, and then he has no clue what happened to the money. Yeah, right, Jack. Try that again. Bye.
And we're back. So we're going to close up episode 50 here.
It's our 2-year anniversary too. We didn't even make a big to do about it.
Well,
Wait, is it 2 years?
Yeah.
Really?
we thought we'd celebrate it on episode 52.
I mean, I can relate.
26, 52. Even though this is the actual literal.
Times the square root of the hypotenuse.
We talked about this.
Prime number.
We talked about this 2 weeks ago.
Are you sure? Did you talk to yourself about this?
I guess. Who the hell knows?
So anyway, a couple episodes we'll celebrate our second full year, but whatever. Nobody cares.
I mean, episode 50 is a milestone.
It needs 100 to go into syndication. I think. Well, that's television. So, Jason, what do you have going on Masonically in the next couple weeks?
So this upcoming week, which will be the week that already happened, is Hell Week. Because I'm here tonight. Tomorrow, Lamberton is looking for help in the chairs with the extra meeting, but I am Mr. Mom. I have a kid that just got her wisdom teeth pulled, and my wife she's got a couple night jobs she needs to do because she had to take time off to go do wisdom teeth with the oldest. You don't need to know all the gory details, but tomorrow I'm Mr. Mom. Wednesday night will be a stated meeting at Lodge 43, where we will have 3 entered apprentice degrees after the meeting. The next day is our regular extra meeting where we have 3 more degrees. Friday is the stated meeting of the Valley of Harrisburg. Saturday in Lamberton Lodge, where I have dual membership, we have a regular attendee of Goose and Gridiron. His son will be joining Lamberton Lodge, and because his son at the time was working second shift, and his father, who's already a member, his health keeps him from coming to meetings on a regular basis. We're conferring we're doing a 1-day class for him. I'll be conferring the first degree, but everybody filling the chairs and conferring will be members from our breakfast group.
So sorry I can't be there.
You are doing way more fun things.
I will be having a continental breakfast in Florence. So.
And then aside from that, it's Scottish Rite reunions coming up. So if there's any Pennsylvania Masons in the central PA area where we got Lancaster Lodge Perfection reunion, followed up by Harrisburg next month. And that's pretty much my life for the next couple of weeks. And you and I are in a undisclosed degree. And
playing undisclosed parts.
At an undisclosed location, wearing undisclosed costumes.
Ken, anything coming up Masonically?
Tomorrow night, I'm going to try to make the Lamberton Lodge, and also definitely on Saturday. And then, of course, we are stated meeting. I'm doing something. I'm not sure if I'm guiding or chaplain or what I'm doing, but I'll be there in tux, ready to go. I'm kind of looking forward to that because one of my good friends is getting his first degree. So I'm looking forward to that. And while I've got the mic, I want to thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to share.
No, it's great having
you. Thank you, Ken.
Yeah.
Jack.
Most of my Masonic weeks, this week and next, I'll be missing. I'll be missing a stated meeting of Ephrata Lodge 665. I'll be missing an extra meeting where 2 degrees will be conferred. I'll be missing Royal Arch chapter meeting.
You won't be missing any of it because
you are so right. I will, however, be presiding over the Grotto meeting on the 22nd because I certainly don't expect Spooner to be back for that. So we do have a speaker for the night.
What?
So yep, I do.
We actually have a program.
What?
You guys better get ready for me.
You going to bring a little bit of structure?
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. There's enough unstructure that
Speaker's going to speak about game fishing in Pennsylvania.
No, actually, I'll give it away. Chris Embardino is going to talk about club fitting and buying the right equipment for golfs. So it being Masters season, that just ended. So the guys are getting ready to go out. We're going to a couple of us are going to play around before the Grotto meeting.
Yeah, I need to start learning how to golf.
Well,
I noticed 3 sets of clubs in the Ephrata basement.
yeah. 2 of them are left-handed, so good luck with that.
I mean, it doesn't matter, honestly.
Hey, Larry, what do you have anything going on?
Wait. Go back to Jack. Go back to Jack.
Oh, you're not done.
No,
What?
Jack's not done yet. You talk about your in-gathering. I know it's not until August, but you should talk about your in-gathering.
Oh, there will be an AMD, Allied Masonic Degrees, in-gathering. It'll be Central Pennsylvania's first in-gathering, and we are meeting at Ephrata Lodge. The tickets are limited, so if you're interested, please look on the Facebook page for Junto Council AMD.
We can post
Put it on our Masonic Light podcast. I'll
All right,
put it
yeah,
there.
refer to our whatever this is, a Masonic Light page on Facebook, and we'll have a link to it there. But it'll be a couple of speakers in the morning that is open to the public, and then a lunch, and then in the afternoon it closes to a closed AMD meeting where they'll be conferring a couple of the degrees that are under the jurisdiction of the Allied Masonic Degrees of North America. So should be an interesting event. It's the first one that we've done, so we're giving it a good shot, and we'll see how it goes.
I got something I wanted to mention. I totally forgot. Sorry, you're rolling your eyes. Hey, talking about news, which we heard a little bit ago. So we did the news article last week, and about Brother, what was
the
his
French
name?
brother that was a police officer.
Yeah.
So it turns out that he
Bertrand
was.
Arnaud.
Turns out.
Yeah, you're going to tell me he's clandestine.
No, and you know what? No, seriously. And then and I had heard the news, floating around after the fact that we had already done the article that he happened to be clandestine, and I don't know if he got the credit that he deserved just because he was clandestine.
No,
and
in fact, if I may, he wasn't clandestine. He was simply a member of a Grand Lodge not recognized by the UGLE or the state of Pennsylvania.
Yes.
That's not necessarily clandestine.
Applause.
It's just not recognized. Okay? Different animal altogether.
Yeah.
there's a guy that probably had very similar belief systems
Absolutely.
to us. Right.
Absolutely, yeah. And it kind of, and this is another topic discussion, that infuriated me when I heard that from a couple people.
Yeah.
Really, he was a brother, period.
Just couldn't visit lodge
No,
with him.
couldn't.
You could have coffee and
But
cankles with
on
him.
the other hand, you could clandestinely visit, no one would ever know.
You could have pie.
Just don't
Yeah,
talk
that's
about it on the podcast.
That's right. That's right.
Larry,
Yes.
do you have anything happening in the next 2 weeks?
Goose and Gridiron Thursday, the 3 degrees on Saturday, 14th, which is the Goose and Gridiron degree team. So, no. Quiet.
My week is horrible coming up.
You're out of town.
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'll be in Gettysburg for the Pennsylvania Grotto Association.
Represent.
I come back on Sunday, and I be at a practice for Scottish Rite. And then Monday night, let me see here. Monday night, we have a practice for Tall Cedars degree.
Yes, that's right.
Then Tuesday night, we actually have the degree for
The 17th, yep.
for the Scottish Rite. Council on Wednesday. And if I go, and I'm not going to go, ESGA, Empire State Grotto Association, I'm not going to that. But the following weekend, I'll be going to Wildwood for Tall Cedars. So the next 2 weeks, I'm Masonicking everywhere.
This is all part of that one night a month thing, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. That weekend that I was talking about coming down, just the wife and I for one night, is prom. Oh. Yeah.
You're a little old for prom.
I know I am,
But he looks great into the sequin
But
gown.
we gotta make sure the teenagers get off the prom okay. And
Tutu.
Jack, is Chapter 43 conferring a degree this month, or is this an off month for degree work?
They are. They're doing the Royal Arts degree, and I'm so sad I can't be there because I do love to do the principal sojourner part.
Is that during your trip?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it worth throwing out there to any of our Pennsylvania chapters that we're in need of a candidate to get his degrees over by summertime?
No, that's. Oh, you're talking about from the inside out. Yeah, we do have a candidate that we'd love to get all 3 of the Royal Arts degrees at some point. We just missed a one-day class in Allentown, but if there is anybody listening at all, or if there is anybody listening from in a Royal Arch chapter who is conferring a one-day conferral type thing on a weekend, we'd love to hear about that because we do have a brother who would like to become a Royal Archmason, and we just don't have the time on the calendar to get it done for him. So just drop us a message on the Facebook page, and we'd appreciate it very much.
Boom.
And I guess that's it. Ken, thank you so much for coming today.
Larry, take us out of here.
Take us out of here. Hey, here we go. Okay, special thanks to Monarch Studios for allowing us to continue to record in the basement. And to Lady Stephanie, let me tell you, Lady Stephanie is gorgeous, beautiful, intelligent, and she tolerates the five of us, and she's really a doll. Thank you, Steph.
And can sing.
Yeah, and can sing, absolutely. Also, too, thanks to Jason, sorry for the noise, Jason Lewis, our producer, for always turning on a great show.
That's me.
Yeah, and to Brother Pete and Brother Ken for visiting us tonight. You did a great show. That's Brother Jack, our news director. And just want to close it out by saying that I just finally discovered what's wrong with my brain.
Jeez.
I just discovered what's wrong with my brain.
How much time do we have left?
Hear me out, okay? Hear me out before you criticize.
Dun, 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 dun,
I discovered what's wrong with my brain. On the left side, there's nothing right. And on the right side, there's nothing left. That's all.
This is Jason Lewis.
This is Larry.
This is Pete Ruggieri.
This is Larry.
Jack.
I don't know who I am.
Good night, good day, and thanks for listening to Masonic Light Podcast.
Oh my God!
You were awesome.
Nothing on my left. Okay.
The number you have dialed has been changed. The new number is